Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we're going to do an art piece using seashells, glass, and resin, all kinds of fun stuff. So first of all, our encouraging word today is if you are too busy to laugh, you are too busy. I like that one a lot. That's a new one. Okay, so what you're going to need if you want to make this project or something similar is I have put down some old, this is stuff that was here when we moved in. I guess when they did some work on the house, they had this big sheet of this stuff. And so I put some of that down here on my table because Robbie Bragg gave me this beautiful table and I don't want to ruin it. So you're going to need that. You're going to need a little bit of white glue. Okay. I am using some sand from the Dollar Tree. This is just the white sand that you can buy. I have another bag of it, but this one's open, so I'll use this first. I'm using some resin. This is the resin that I have. I ordered it from Amazon. Okay, it's just epoxy resin. You mix it 1-to-1 ratio. We'll be using that. You will need little cups to mix your resin in. And then I'm using some crushed glass. So this came from Michael's. Let me see what the brand is. This is what it is. Glass Deco Stones. Came from Michael's. And no, this didn't. I'm lying. This came from Hobby Lobby. It did. So I've got this greenish color, this blue, and I have a clear color here. Not sure I'll use it, but I have it if I need it. And then I have these little pebbles that came from the Dollar Tree, and I like the color of these, and so we may use some of these with the glass. We'll see. I have some seashells. So these are seashells that I picked up on the beach here in Florida. Ooh, I'm trying to pick them up without dropping them, so I have a whole bunch of them here. Not sure which ones I'm going to use, but I'm definitely going to pull some seashells out for this. I have some stained glass pieces. Now these are green stained glass pieces. I got them from the sheet from Hobby Lobby, and then I cut them using just glass. I used a glass cutter tool, a scoring tool. I am not the expert at cutting glass really, but if you want to watch, there's a lady called the Crazy Glass Lady. She does some really cool stuff. And there are several places on YouTube that you can look and watch them cut stained glass. That's all I've done is kind of watch some of these other people and tried to do it, but I'm definitely not as good as they are. I have these pretty little gem things as well. These came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using them, some of them in here. This is a Christmas present for somebody that will not be named, just in case they watch this. I don't know if they will or not, but they could. And one more second, and I will show you. I have a frame here, picture frame. I got this from Goodwill. It was like $2.99. And here it is. So I painted it. I took it outside. It was brown, and I painted it white with spray paint. And then I had to take the back out. So it was really weird, this picture frame was. It had like a sheet of paper that was glued onto here. And then it had 2 pieces of glass with something in between and something on the bottom. It was just really weird. So I had to take a whole lot of stuff apart. And so I ended up with the frame and 1 piece of glass here. And what I've done is I've taken this glue, and I've done this on both sides, but I'm just going to show you kind of how I do it because I think it needs another coat. I'm just taking this and just running a bead of it along where the glass meets up with the frame here. And you don't want to get it on your glass like I just did there. So try not to do that. I think I need to open it more. But you just want to go along here with the glue and create a pretty good bead in there. And that's just gonna, number one, glue your glass into this frame, but it's also going to create a barrier for when we put the resin on. Okay, so you want a pretty good little bead of glue. I'm making sure that I don't, you know, miss any, like there's no skipping, and it covers pretty fully that whole entire crack there where the glass meets the frame. And then I'm going to let that dry for 24 hours. So I've already put some in and let it dry. This is like a second coating of it because I just want it to be really secure. I don't want my resin running out, and I may even put some tape down, some painter's tape when I pour the resin. I just don't want it coming out and getting all over everything. And resin seems to be really good at doing that. So I'm just going all the way around the frame with the glue. And again, the Crazy Glass Lady is where I get this idea from about putting this glue. She showed me, or she told me this. So if you guys want to check her out, she does some really amazing stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to set that aside, and we're going to let it dry for 24 hours. You want it to be good and dry. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done. So I told you this thing came with 2 pieces of glass in it, which was fortunate for me because I was able to take the second piece and put out my pattern, or put out my picture of what I want to do. So these are the glass pieces that I cut out of the sheet of stained glass. And here are 3 beads. These are just beads that I had in my bead stash that I'm using for coconuts. And then these are pieces of flat scallop shell that I've picked up on the beach. So you can find them just like this. I haven't done anything to them. I haven't cut them. I haven't, you know, dremelled them. I haven't done anything. I just laid them out there. And then I've got, this is the crushed glass. And we're going to use it in the couple different colors and possibly the pebbles. And then I'm going to pull out some seashells to work with. And then I will be transferring this over onto the other glass. So right now it's here. It's going to be going over onto the other glass and then getting resin poured all over it. So, but it's nice if you have an extra piece of glass laying around that you can kind of lay out your picture and just, you know, get the idea and then transfer it over when you pour your resin. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to let this dry for 24 hours. I'm going to pull out the seashells that I want to use in this, and then I will come back and we will make a creation, okay? So stay tuned. Okay, so it's been 24 hours. It's the next day, and I've actually put some more glue in here. Which is not dried yet, just because I want to be sure that there's no place this resin is going to leak out, so you can see it in there. And I've pulled out a bunch of the stuff that I'm going to be working with. So I've got these small shells here. I've got some coquinas, and then I have all these other shells. So I've got some shark's eyes here. There's 3 shark's eyes, a piece of a lightning whelk, some clam shells, this beautiful starfish, and a bunch of scallops, a buttercup lucine, I think is what this is called, a button top, here's a little twisty, I don't know what that is, and a sand dollar, and a jingle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got some baby oil here, and I'm going to take my baby oil. I'm just going to dip a paintbrush in, and I'm going to paint some of these shells with the baby oil just to give them the shiny wet look, okay? Because I like them looking nice and shiny and like they've been in the water. I just think they're so much prettier like that. I'm going to paint the lightning whelk. Then I'm going to take a paper towel and wipe some of this off. I'm not going to leave them this oily. There's a little cockle, spiny cockle. But look what it does with the scallops when you paint them with the baby oil. It just brings their color out so pretty. This scallop has little barnacles on it. These are all shells that I picked up myself, even the sand dollar, which I've dripped oil on. I hope that doesn't hurt him. I don't guess it will. Wow, it is kind of making him look transparent though. But he's just going to be glued on the outside, sort of, you can't really get him in the resin. If you do, it messes him up, so we'll see. I may use him, I may not, it just depends. You can take these sand dollars and I might just put the oil on him and see what it does. You can take these sand dollars and actually you can paint them. You can color them with markers. Yeah, the oil doesn't make him look very good. And I think you can even take a glue and water mixture, kind of like Mod Podge, and and Mod Podge them up. Okay, that's not looking too great. I may grab a different sand dollar and let that one sit and see what happens to it, but for the rest of these, this oil works really good to just make them shiny and pretty, make them look like new. And I may pull out other seashells out of my stash here. I'm not sure how many I'm gonna need, but we'll see. Okay, so I am going to take a paper towel, which I've got a little piece right here, and I'm just gonna kind of wipe some of the excess oil off of them. Okay. It does make their color come out so pretty, especially the scallops. It makes the kitten paws look good. Look at that. Looks a whole lot better. I have some orange kitten paws. I need to find one of those to put out here on this. So this is a Christmas present. I haven't said who it's for because I don't know if they watch. So I don't want to give up the surprise if they do. But I'm going to make several of these for people this year for Christmas, I think. Okay. And see, even if you have broken shells like this, I mean, a lot of people would never pick this up. But I'm going to put it on this frame, and it's not, you're not going to be able to tell that it's broken. Only the front is going to show. So pick them up. You can do so much with them, whether they're broken or not. Okay, so I've got my shells all shined up. My sand dollar looks horrible now. Don't put baby oil on your sand dollars. So I'm going to grab another sand dollar. Put the lid on that, put that up there. I'm going to grab another sand dollar and a couple more napkins, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just going to clean my glass real good with some Windex here. And I cleaned the other side too, but I'm not going to be working on the other side. I'm just going to be working on this side. The other side has still got a little bit of the glue wet on the sides here, and I just wiped it down so I can make sure there's nothing really that needs scrubbed off, and it doesn't. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm getting those shells out of the way. And that poor sand dollar that I saturated. Actually, he's not looking better. I thought he might be, but he's not. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is put some sand along the bottom here. So let me see if I can adjust this camera over a bit so we can see everything that I'm doing. Okay, so I've got my part A and part B resin. And I do need to grab some cups. Okay, so I've got my mixing cups right here. These are just some silicone cups. Ow, there's a piece of glass on that one. They're really nice because the resin will come right out of them. I'm gonna throw that piece of glass away. It stuck right in my finger. Okay, I've got some popsicle sticks. I've got some toothpicks for intricate work. I've got my lighter to get bubbles out. And I've got some pigment here. This is a Super Bronze Pearl-X pigment. I'm going to put that in the sand because I don't want the sand to be totally stark white. And then I have these little cups that are disposable little mixing cups. So I'm going to use one of those. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're taking our part, this is our part B. And I'm going to mix up quite a bit. And I think that the lid is glued down on this. It was before. I may have to go get some pliers to undo the lid. Yep, I'll be right back. Okay, so the lid was glued down on that part B. got it open. And it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so I'm just going to fill this cup. Probably not all the way up. Probably going to go right about here. Don't even know if I need that much, honestly. I've not done this before. I'm new at it. So I'm going to put a little bit back. Just don't want to have too much. Actually, I have a project that I'm wanting to do where you pour resin out on this plastic and make a bowl out of it. So if I have leftover, I may do that. Okay, and then we're going to take our part A, setting it right up here with the part B so I can see. And I mean, a lot of people weigh this. I don't do that. I think you can pretty well eyeball it. And if you add in a little bit of extra, make sure you do it on the hardener side and not the resin side. So that looks pretty good. I might get just a little bit more. There we go. That looks even to me. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab a bigger cup to mix them together in. Okay, so hopefully this will do it. I think it will. I thought I had all my stuff together, but clearly I did not. I was unprepared. I've got 2 resin projects going on. I'm doing some seashell jewelry as well. So that's going on the other table. So some of my stuff's over there. Okay. And I'm just scraping this cup. You want to get as much of this resin out as possible. You don't want to leave any in there if you can help it. So taking the popsicle stick, scraping really good on the bottom, on the sides. I get every bit of that out that I can. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one and add it in. This little cup I'm mixing in is actually a laundry detergent cap. And they're a pretty good size for mixing together resin. Especially if you need to do a little bit more like I'm doing here today. Okay, and again, scrape the sides, the bottom. Make sure you get it all out if you can. Okay. All right, now we're going to stir. Now, as you can see, the resin has some striations in there, and it's going to get a little bit cloudy here as I stir it, as the mixture starts to do its chemical thing. And you just want to scrape the sides. I don't worry too much about the bubbles. I mean, you don't want to whip it like a cake, obviously. You're going to get a ton of bubbles. See how cloudy it's getting? But you know, I don't stir so slowly that, you know, I just stir it regular. We'll use the torch to get the bubbles out. It's not hard. Okay, so just stirring and stirring. And stirring. And you want to stir until it is completely clear and you can't see any of those striations and it's just crystal clear. That's how you know it's mixed up really good. And it's important to get it mixed up really good. And I think I see hair in there. Or fuzz or something. Let me get that out. Oh, I missed it. Let me get a Q-tip or a toothpick and get it. There it is. We don't want that in there. And I did just get some resin on my frame here. Okay. So just keep stirring. I love working with resin. It's so much fun. There's so many things you can do with it. And I hear a lot of people talk about being afraid of it, you know, but it's like any other medium, I think. I don't know. I don't think, you know, everybody's like, oh, I'm afraid I'll mess up. Well, if you mess up, then just try again. You know, don't let that stop you. Okay, there's still the little striations in there that I can see, so I'm just making sure that I scrape the bottom and the sides. You just want it mixed until it's a crystal clear. You can't see any of those little striations anymore, and it's not cloudy at all. If you don't get it mixed up good, it's not going to cure right. So it is important. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Yep, looking pretty good. All right, so I'm going to set this down here. Now, one thing I want to do is mix up the sand, and I don't want the sand to be pure white. I'm actually going to do it in one of these cups because I need a little bit more. I don't want the sand to be pure white, so I'm going to color it with a little bit of Pearlex pigment. So let me get the sand open here. And the Pearlex pigment that I'm using, the color is Super Bronze. And it's just a brownish color. I don't have my scissors over here either. So we're using pliers to open the sand. Okay. So I'm just going to pour some of the sand in here. Pretty good amount of it. About halfway full of that cup. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of this pigment powder in. I just didn't want pure white sand. I want it to have a little bit of this pearly color. Will be really pretty in here, I think. Okay, so we're going to put the lid on. It's got a pearl finish to it, so hopefully it's going to give it that nice little pearly shine. Whoa, I broke my popsicle stick. Okay, all right, so just going to mix that up in here. I can add more if I want. I want to get it mixed up really good in there. And there is a little bit of resin on the sides of the cup, so it's kind of clumping up. This is the cup I used to mix in a minute ago. That's pretty good. I don't want it to be dark brown, but I just wanted it to have a little bit of a tint to it. So I'm going to take my resin, and I'm just going to pour some in here. Just like this. And I'm going to mix that up. I want it to have a fairly thick consistency. So just stir, get all your sand stirred up in there. And I may add in a little bit more sand. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty thick consistency, and that's about what I want. I don't want it to be so thin. So I am going to put just a tad bit more in there. And the reason I'm doing that is when we put it out here on the frame, I don't want it to run. I want it to kind of stay where I put it. And this is going to make it do that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay some of the sand out here. Now it's very, very thick, and that's what I want. Stir that up. Okay. I love resin. You can do so much with it. It's so cool. All right, so I'm just going to spread the sand out along the bottom here. I don't want it to be really thick, I mean tall, as in I want it to just cover the very bottom pretty much, because my pine tree is kind of tall, or palm tree is kind of tall, and I still want to get the ocean in there too. So just going to spread this out. Take my popsicle stick and scoot it down. Just like this. And this is kind of a 3D thing, so I don't mind it sticking up a little bit. It doesn't have to be level with the frame, per se. And I am going to be putting some shells along the sides and the corners of the frame. So, just making sure that I cover all the little spots and don't leave anything out. Okay. Now I'm just going to kind of smooth it. Okay. Get some of that sand off the stick. And I may even take some of the sand off. I don't want a whole big bunch. I think this is pretty good, but I'm going to get a new popsicle stick and take this and just scrape it like this. Okay. Looking pretty good. There we go. All right. Just kind of neatening some things up here. That's good. All right, now if I wanted to lay some shells in here, I could, because anything that you lay in here, you know, I don't really want it to sink down in the resin, but I want it to, it will dry in there if I kind of lay it like this. So I'm just going to lay a few of these shells like that, and I like how they're on the edge, you know, kind of going over the edge. Now this guy, I'm probably going to glue later. I'm going to glue him here maybe, or something like that, but I'm just laying a few of these down. Now I also have these little, let me reach up here, these little gem things. I thought these were really pretty. These little guys. And I could set a few of these in here. Just like that, in between the shells. They're pretty, just kind of sparkly, and anything you set in there is really, it's going to adhere. The resin is going to, when the resin cures, it's really going to adhere in there, okay? So I'll do a few shells there. May do some over here on this other side a little bit. I do want to put this starfish on here too. He is so, so cute. That'd be a good place for him. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to put a few along each side here. That looks good. Another shark eye over here. Okay, and a beautiful red scallop. Can go right there. And I'll put something along the edge of it too, maybe this guy, just so it doesn't look, that red scallop was a little broken, but I thought it was so pretty. Hated not to pick it up. Okay. We'll go ahead and put one of these in here. That's a good spot. And one of these in here. Whoops. Yeah, it's good to have your little toothpick, because sometimes things flip and they don't want to sit like they should. There we go. Okay, so now I've got to figure out where I want to put my sand dollar. But I don't want to put him on just yet. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this this colored glass. It's so pretty. And again, I really do need my scissors over here. There we go. Okay, now I need to start placing my palm tree as well. So let me pull him over here. I just want to be very careful not to spill him. But I need to start because he's going to go right here in the middle. So I'm just going to place that there. And I'm just going to go ahead and put him on here exactly like I've got him on this glass. Okay, so I want to try to keep it exactly like I have it because I really like the way that it was. This little one's in here. A lot of people work with tweezers, but I have trouble with tweezers for some reason. And if I get everything basically placed, then, you know, I can move it around. We've got about 45 minutes before our resin starts to really set up. So we're good in that arena for the moment. I don't want to take, don't want to take too long, but, you know, I don't have to really rush either. Okay. I like that this thing had this extra piece of glass in it because that makes it really easy to kind of get the shape of what you want and then just move it over. It's pretty nice. Oops. That's kind of funny. I asked Chris, I was like, can you tell what this is? Because a lot of times I'll say, can you tell what this is? And he'll tell me something like completely different than what it is. But he was like, yeah, it's a palm tree. So I know that I'm doing okay because he could definitely tell that it was a palm tree. So that made me feel good. If he could tell, then I know I'm good. Okay. And we've got these little guys sticking up on top here. I saw lots of different palm trees. Some of them were just using the glass, glitter, this crushed glass, and they were pretty, but I really wanted it to look a little more realistic and have the, I like the stained glass. I just think it's so pretty. Okay. So just putting some of these pieces in, these middle pieces. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's art, you know, just have fun with it. I think the person that I'm making this for is going to love it anyway, whether it's perfect or not. We're gonna get our coconuts in here. So cute. Okay, now let me set this back up here for a minute. And let's get our palm tree exactly how we want it. I'm going to take my toothpick and just kind of move some things around. There we go. Okay. Okay, I like that pretty well. Get these scallop pieces. kind of want it to curve a little, but not too much. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to take some of my glass. I've got some here on this sheet. And I'm just going to sprinkle it right here. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave it like that. Okay, I just wanted to get that off of there. All right, so this is our water. Do you want to get that out of the sand? Okay. Need some more. And I've heard that you can color this crushed glass with alcohol ink. Like if you need different colors, you can buy the clear and color it with alcohol ink. I have not tried that, but seems like it would work to me. Okay, so there's some blue. Now we're going to take some green. I'm going to sprinkle the green up here, kind of giving it the illusion of depth, I'm hoping. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit more blue on top of that green even. Mix it up in there a little. Now I'm going to take my resin and I'm very slowly just going to start pouring the resin out on this, on the whole thing. If I have to mix up more, I will. And I probably maybe should have poured the resin first. I don't know. It might have been a good idea, but I didn't, so we're going with it. Okay. I may have to mix up some more. We'll see. And I'm just going to spread and make sure that the resin kind of spreads out all over here. Going all the way up the sides, and this is a little tedious, but I don't think I need to mix up. Well, maybe I do need to mix up some more. I might have to. I can't really tip it because I don't want it to be everything to move. So I might put on a glove and use my finger. Resin is self-leveling, so it should kind of spread. But I think you really have to make it do it, sort of. It doesn't always do the best at self-leveling. My tree's looking kind of, let's fix him a little bit. Yeah, I may have to pour a little bit more resin just to make sure that everything's covered. This is my first one ever of these. I am going to take the torch and torch it a little, because that will get the bubbles out and it will kind of heat the resin up too. So I do want to get the bubbles out. I don't want there to be a bunch of bubbles, so. see some bubbles in the tree. So I'm just going to do this. Now, you don't want to stay in one place with this. You want to keep it moving fast, but it does heat the resin, so it's going to kind of help it to move a little bit. Get the bubbles out of here. Okay. A little something right there. I'm going to get that off. All right, so I don't know if you could tell, but that kind of started the resin moving a little bit more. Thinned it up a little bit, so let's go up here to the side. And just move it up. I'm hoping that the Elmer's glue that I put on the back of this, and I gave it like 3 coats, so I'm hoping that that will keep anything from flowing through to the back. I think I may need to mix up just a tad bit more here. Let's get that piece of the water down here. Yeah, I think I may need to mix up a little bit more, so let me do that. So I'm just going to do it in this cup. So let me hold it up here. Find my little lines. I'll go to there. Pour it in here. Okay, and same thing with the hardener. Running out of room on my table. I needed to clear off a little bit better space. I'm going to go to the same line with the hardener. There's a gnat. He really ought to get out of there if he knows what's best for him. It's a good place for the gnat. Okay, put the hardener in here. And just mix a little bit more. Okay, let's just mix it up. Again, scraping the sides, just getting everything till it's clear. I'm going to torch this a little bit more while I'm doing this because I'm seeing some more bubbles. The bubbles usually rise to the top and you can get them out, and it's not a big deal if they're in the tree so much under the glass or something. I just don't want them in the clear part out here. Okay. Mixing and mixing here. I wish I would have made my sand just a tad bit darker. I think a darker brown would have looked a little bit better, or the white, but I'm not real crazy about that color. I'm not sure what I can do about it at this point. Okay, so this is mixing up well. And I'm going to take my torch and just pop some of the bubbles in it. Ooh, you got to watch out, it will catch on fire. Okay, let some of those bubbles rise. Torch it a little more. I don't want a bunch of bubbles in the clear part, so I'm going to let that sit for a second. Okay, now let's look at our tree. I just want to make sure that I have everything how I want it. It's looking a little bit weird up here at the top. I want to make sure that it looks good and doesn't look like it's crammed in there. There. Make sure everything's spaced out well. Okay. Okay. Give this another little torch. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to pour this right over the tree here. Make sure I get it over all the glass. Yeah, I definitely did need some more resin, so that's good. Okay. All right, getting all that out there. Now, I am going to shove it out here to the corners. Okay. Okay, now it's got to get up here in all these little corners. I'm going to slightly tip it. See if I can just get some of the resin to run up there without really... Yeah, there we go. I have a lot down here, it seems like. And I want it to cover all the glass, at least with a thin layer, just so everything looks cohesive. Okay. It is spreading out, thank goodness. All right, there we go. Now, I'm thinking about this sand. I wonder if there's anything I can do. Let me torch this whole thing. Get some of the bubbles out. I wonder if there's anything I can do to make this sand a little darker, because I am not crazy about the color of it at all. Just getting all the bubbles out that I can. Even down here. And I don't know what this is that's in here. There's something in the resin right here, it looks like. What is all this? It's pieces of something. What in the world? Okay, let me see if I can get some of that out. I don't know what it is. It's not bubbles. Looks like actual pieces of something. I'm gonna try to scoot it. Maybe it's glitter. I don't know. Maybe it is bubbles. I don't think it's bubbles. Some of it's bubbles, but not all of it. So I have no idea what that is. I thought I had everything cleaned up really good. Frame and everything. I know I did. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to scoot it down because it can go in the water and it won't show down here, whatever it is. So I'm just going to scoot all this down. Get that, whatever those are, little flecks of something out of the main part down into the water. Because the water, if they're in there, they're not going to show up. And I may even put a little bit more glass in here for the water, but I definitely don't want them, whatever they are, showing up here. I want that to be clear. I don't think it's sand. It's not the right color. It's like a gray. I have no idea what it is. Maybe it was, I don't know. Okay. So anyway, we'll do that. Torch it to get bubbles out so I can tell what's a bubble and what's not. Okay. Now I'm going to take my toothpick and I'm just going to look and see if I see, and I'm still seeing that. Maybe it's coming off this glass. It kind of looks like it might be coming off the glass, but it shouldn't be up here in the tree. Okay. But I'm just going to scoot anything like that that I see that's a little fleck of something, or try to get it out, or scoot it to where it's not noticeable. Okay, there's something I got out. There's something over here. Got it. Okay. So now I think I'm going to take a little bit more of the green. Just going to go right around in here. Okay. And I'm going to try to do a couple little wave shapes. That gnat is flying around. He's determined to get in this resin. So I'd kind of like to do a couple little waves coming up. I don't like that one on there. I'm just going to play with this a second. If I don't like it, then I will not leave it like that. That's the good thing. If you don't like it, you can change it. Honestly, those little flecks, I think, are coming off the glass, this crushed glass, which surprises me because I've seen a lot of people use this crushed glass and I don't remember seeing little flecks in their stuff, so. Okay, there's some little waves. That's kind of cute. Maybe do one over here. Okay, do I like the waves or not? Kind of do, but kind of don't. I like it kind of coming up a little so it's not all just, you know, level. Maybe that's what I need to do, is just kind of give it some, there we go. Yeah, not necessarily wave shapes, but a little, that's better. Okay, now, let's see what else I need to do. Making sure everything over here is how I want it. Let's get that in a little. It tends to kind of flow a little bit with the resin, and you'll probably have to take your pieces and kind of put them back a little, or put them how you want them. I think the palm tree is actually looking pretty good though. I like it. Okay. I do like it. It's super cute. Okay, now let's see here. I would really kind of like to get the sand dollar on here somewhere. Having a really hard time with this sand. I don't care for this color. It needs to be darker. And I know you guys are probably like, what are you doing? I am taking the shells off because I can. And I am going to use some alcohol ink and try to darken this sand a little. I don't like it. So let's get all the shells off here. Or maybe I will take the white sand and sprinkle over top. That might be the best option. So let's try this. I didn't want it to be totally white because the frame is white, but oh look, it's just gonna sink in. If I can just kind of lighten it up a little and have that other brown kind of behind it. I'll have to pick this up when I'm done, when it's all cured and dry, and brush the excess sand off, I'm sure. If it would stay like that, I would be happy. Pretty happy with it. Just not quite so pinky brown. That's what I'm not liking about it. It's kind of a pinky brown. Okay. All right. Get a little paper towel. Make the frame. So I don't want a bunch of stuff coming over the edge there. Okay, now let's see. That is better. Don't know how much it's gonna stay, but for now, it's better. I'm just gonna smooth it a little bit. I don't really mind if it's not down in these corners so much because I'm going to put some shells there. But okay. All right, let's look now. Let's see. Where's my sand dollar? I would really like to get the sand dollar on there somehow, but I'm not sure. Maybe just lay it here. Kind of go down. It's just got to go into the resin a little bit. It doesn't even have to go in a whole lot. Just enough to kind of hold it on the thing. I wonder if I could. I don't want to get too much resin on the sand dollar because I think it'll make it look, you'll be able to see it. If I can just get it on the edges here to where it'll stay. So I'm just going to take some of this resin and try to go right along here just to give it a resin. When it dries, you know, it acts as like a glue. Let's get that down a little. It'll definitely glue to those glass pieces. Okay. These are, I actually found this sand dollar on Sanibel Island. I found 26 that day. Believe it or not, it was a sand dollar day. Sanibel is pretty awesome. Let's get a little bit in that. That might not have been a wise move, but Sanibel is pretty awesome. I found all kinds of stuff that day. Okay, I think the sand dollar is going to stay now. So what do I want to put with it? Let's see here. Where's my conch shell piece? Oops. That would look really good right there. And now it's a matter of just playing around with it and getting what I want, where I want. Don't forget to keep torching it. You want to make sure you get your bubbles out of the clear sections as much as possible. Okay. And again, I don't know what some of these little flecks of stuff are. I think they're just, honestly, I think they're pieces of this glass that's come off. Okay. So I've got a sand dollar. That's all I've got so far. Let's see here. What else do I want to do? I don't want to do too much. That's the problem. I don't want it to be cluttery. These scallops are really pretty. Like that looks really good, I think. Or even over here, which this one's kind of broken. But I could cover it with something. I definitely want to get the starfish on here. So one way to do this is to take this, grab a little resin. Let's put a little bit of right there and then stick our little starfish on. And it will adhere to that when it dries for sure. I just got sand in there too, didn't I? Yep. Like I said, guys, this is my first attempt at this. But it is pretty fun. Even if it doesn't turn out absolutely perfect, it's a lot of fun. And I think it's pretty good. I mean, my palm tree could be better, I'm sure. I just didn't want it to look like a spider, and I don't think it does. Okay, just kind of trying to move things around and get them how I want them. Torch it again. Okay, so I've got those two there. I'm really kind of torn. I don't want to do too much to it I don't want it to be cluttery, but yet I want it to have some shells on it. Let's see how this looks over here. That looks pretty good right there. So you just take a little resin, you put it on the edge of the shell here, on the edges where it's going to touch. When it dries, it'll dry down on there. I used glue before on the mermaid one that I did. I did another, well, it was similar. It wasn't a resin pour, but I did a glass mermaid scene, and I used glue, and I didn't like it as well. I think that the resin Number one, I don't know, I think it holds things a little bit better. And the glue, you could kind of see it. So, you know, I'm just going to set that on there. And I think it'll dry. And if not, I guess I can always reinforce it with glue later, right? Okay. Now, I really would like to get a couple of these scallops on here. They're so pretty. But I don't know. I don't know if it needs much more. That's the thing. I just don't want to overdo it, because the palm tree really needs to be the focal. I should make the water kind of come up onto the sand a little in spots like that. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? If you just kind of make it look like it's, because that is how the waves work. They come up onto the sand. That looks good. Okay. I just keep torching it every few minutes. Just lightly. I don't hover in any one spot. I just go over real. But there are a lot of little bubbles that'll come up and form, and you can pop them that way, and it just makes it better, I think. Okay, and if your resin, like this resin underneath this little shell, is starting to kind of run down, so I'm just gonna, just like that. Okay, what else can I do to make it look good? Down here at the bottom, I really would like to use some more shells, but I really don't want to clutter it up. That's the only thing, is I just don't want to clutter it up. He does not seem to be sticking very well. Let me just coat him a little bit here. There, that'll do it. Okay. I've still got this brown sand because the white's just kind of being absorbed. This pinky brown, which I do not care for at all. But we'll see. It might be okay. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, y'all. I feel like I should do something else to it. I feel like it should have more shells. But like I said, I don't want to clutter it. I really like the scallops. I kind of think it looks better without them, actually. I feel like it needs something there, but it needs something white. It doesn't need a lot of color down here. So let me see, do I have another white clam? I should have several. Here's a little one. Let me find some white clamshells here. I know I've got some. Yeah, here's one. I've got all kinds of shells. Tons and tons of shells. I just don't want to clutter it. I like the palm tree being kind of... Yeah, the white looks pretty good on there, actually. I think it's the color that's throwing me. I'm sorry if you guys can hear Chris. He's working and he's so loud. I just can't. I mean, he's got his door shut and I can still hear every word he's saying. So he yells, kind of. I don't think he realizes it, but I don't know if the people on the other end of the phone are like, they have to be like, quit yelling at me, but I don't know. But he is very, very loud on the phone. Very, very loud. Yeah, these white shells are doing it. They're cute, and it's just enough. It's not too much extra color. I don't know why, but I don't feel like it needs a whole lot of extra color going on. Maybe it's because of this pink sand that I'm not happy with anyway, but yeah, I feel like the white is elegant. It doesn't need a whole lot of extra craziness going on, I don't think. Make sure that my stalk of my palm tree looks normal and not like it's cut off down there. There we go. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of playing around with it, making sure that everything kind of looks like I want it to look. And, you know, as I get stuff, like if I see a little bit of resin running over here, I'm just kind of wiping it off. It'll eventually quit moving. The resin will completely quit moving. But these little spots down here where it's kind of underneath the shell, I'm just wiping to make sure that it doesn't show too much. Okay, let me see. I probably need just a couple more shells over here. And again, I think the white, now here's a white scallop. That would look cute. Here's a white scallop. Oh yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and put a white scallop on there. See if I've got any resin left in here. I do. I can. Okay. There we go. I just like the white. Let me tip it up so you guys can see the whole thing. What do you think? I think it's looking pretty good for my very first attempt. Again, I'm not crazy about the sand color, but there's really not a lot I can do about it because it is sinking in. Every time I put it on there, I put new white sand on it, it just sinks down in there. So I don't think that anything I do is really going to make a big difference there. I would have liked it to have been darker, but I'm not sure what to do about that, to be honest. I don't think there's really much I can do to fix it, so I'm just going to leave it. And hopefully the person that I give it to won't be like, ooh, pink sand. We'll see. Now it's starting to get really thick, so if you see bubbles in there, you know, like that one right there, and here's one up here, you may have to take your toothpick and get them out. They may not pop with the torch anymore once it gets kind of thick. And scoot that up. But you can still manipulate it a little bit. You just want to be kind of careful, because if you do move things around, it will put bubbles in there like that. And I just try to get them out with my toothpick. All right, I don't know that it really needs anything more. I did not end up using these little gems in it. I just didn't feel like they were gonna look right. I just don't want it to be too much, to be overdone. I'm real picky about that. Here's a jingle. I could put this jingle on here somewhere. I kind of wanted the shells to look piled up, but it's not working out that way for me. Could put that one right there. That covers up a little hole there. That looks good. And again, when the resin dries, it is going to glue. If it's touching something, it's going to glue to it. So that sand's just not even adhered to the piece. That's why it's still white. I do kind of like how this on the edge has made a white line, though. That's kind of cool because that does look like the line on the beach that you get when the waves are washing in. All right, so I think that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm just going to let it sit for a while. I don't know if it needs anything up top, up here. I mean, my other one I put shells like on all the corners, but I don't really think that this needs that. And I don't really want to add a lot of color to it. For some reason, I'm just liking it plain. It looks better without a heck of a lot of color on it. So I may add a few more white shells. I may even go get some pearls over there. I do have these coquinas. Oh, and you know what? I do have these little twisties right here too. A couple of these white ones would be cute probably. Let's see. So I've got like these little white twisty guys that I could put. That might look good to add a couple of those in. There's an auger, a white auger. Well, it's not really white. It's kind of cream colored when you look at it, but there are some little white ones in here. And again, these are all shells that I picked up. I picked a bunch of these up in North Carolina, actually. My niece and I went to the beach one day, and all these little twisty shells were everywhere. So we picked them up, but... All right, so I'm just going to add a few more of these on in little spots. Just kind of fill in some spaces maybe, like right there. And maybe one over here. The coquinas are really pretty too. I found these on Flagler Beach here in North Carolina, or here in Florida. And these are coquinas, and they're everywhere on Flagler Beach, but I kind of like the way they look. They're kind of smooth, and you can find some really pretty colors in them. Let's see if I have any whitish ones. Here's one. I hate that I didn't get this. I really wanted to put the scallops on because they're so pretty, but I don't know. I'm just feeling like that the color, adding extra color, is taken away from the palm tree. So there's a coquina. And I just got stuff on my frame. Now it'll take this resin a good 24 hours to cure. Maybe even longer because it's kind of poured in there thick. But you want to let it cure really well. You do not want to mess with it until it's cured really well. So I am going to add a few of these little coquinas on. Yeah, they look cute. They look cute on there. Got more starfish. I love the 3D, just kind of layering it. I think it's really pretty. But again, I've been watching people online doing these, just glass on glass, with resin, and I think it's so pretty. I just thought this would make such unique, pretty Christmas gifts for people. I need to keep that starfish up there, kind of in the, because it covers up that spot. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just going to play around with it a little bit more, maybe add a few more of the coquinas on in places that maybe it needs it, like right here to cover up the where the resin kind of got up on that starfish or sand dollar. And they're good for that, for covering up small little things like that, little imperfections or whatever, like this. See, I can lay that right on there and it covers that right up. So that's good. So I'm just going to play around with it a little bit more. After it dries for 24 hours and cures, I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, so here is the finished product. It's all cured and dry. And I think it turned out really good. I did end up adding some more seashells, as you can see, and a little bit more glass on there. And then I took some white alcohol ink and I went along here to give it kind of that frothy look on the beach and whiten up the sand a little. But let me pick it up. I think it turned out really good. It's kind of hard to, I mean, I know it's hard to see, but anyway, that's my bead wall back there. But there it is. I think it turned out pretty good for my, only second one I've ever done, and the first one I've ever done of these with the total resin coverage. So, yeah, that's going to be a Christmas present for somebody, and I like it. I'm kind of proud of it, actually. So, there it is. I'm going to be doing another one along with the, well, I'm going to be doing several more, but the next one I'm going to do is a Christmas present as well. And I'm going to be making stained glass flowers and using some of my grandmother's brooches as the middle. So that'll be coming up. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.